Ladies and gentlemen, I got into a fight. You see, chess content got a little bit boring, so I decided to mix it up, throw on some boxing gloves, and get into my first ever exhibition chess boxing match. Now, you may remember in December of 2022, I actually did commentary on a massive chess boxing event that was organized by Ludwig in Los Angeles. Chess boxing is a real sport, and in essence, what chess boxing is a match that is split into a chess game with a certain set amount of time and rounds and boxing. So essentially, if you're losing on the chess game, you could try to knock your opponent out. So March 1st and 2nd, I went to Boston. I was invited to the MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference, fantastic conference, a lot of incredible, brilliant people there giving presentations, and there was a chess boxing demo day. And the chess boxing that we were doing was a version of chess boxing called Chess Boxing Fit. So the format was split into a chess game, but for the boxing, we would be hitting mitts. So somebody would be holding mitts, and we would be tracking our heart rate and the power of our punches. And my opponent for this chess boxing matchup was none other than the chief chess officer for chess.com, Danny Wrench. Here's the format of the event, and I will put timestamps on the video player. First, we played a baseline blitz chess game, 5 minutes to show how we play chess when our heart rate is at its normal state. Then we began the 3 boxing rounds. The first 2 boxing rounds, we had to memorize a combination. And the 3rd boxing round was just punch 1-2 for a full minute straight to elevate your heart rate as high as possible. Obviously, in a real boxing match, you can just go at your opponent, but the point of memorizing a combination was to engage our brain throughout the process. Boxing round number 1 was a 1-2, slip the punch, cross, duck under, hook, hook. That's a long combination. Boxing round number 2 was all punches. It was 1-2, uppercut, 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 hook, hook. And round 3 was just 1s and 2s. And so, let's see how I did in my first ever chess boxing exhibition. Here's the baseline chess game. We drew colors behind the back, and I selected the black pawn. I actually really wanted to play with the black pieces because I'm very confident in my Caro-Kann, even at a peak level of exhaustion. Danny started with e4, which I was aware of, and then I played the Caro-Kann. Now, keep in mind, at this point, we are wearing heart rate monitors and everything. My heart rate's around 88, 87. My resting heart rate is usually like 55. It's gotten into the 40s in my life when I've been in good shape, but obviously here with all the craziness around, it was about 80, 85. It would touch 90. Danny took, and then he played c4. This is the Panov. And this is a 5-minute game, so, you know, it's a little bit longer than a traditional blitz game. I really wanted to ease into it, and also I wanted to win this game because I knew that technically I was a better boxer than Danny because I've boxed more than Danny, but I had no idea how I was going to perform at a level of exhaustion. If you've never boxed before, I highly recommend trying it, at least on a heavy bag or on mitts. You will learn very quickly you are not in shape at all. Now, to my surprise, Danny played bishop g5. I was very much expecting like a slow positional game. I haven't played this line in a while, but this is a line that invites a lot of complications, and so I played knight e4, which I think fits my style very well. This is a very, very sharp and provocative line of the Caro-Kann, and the point is to hit the bishop and the knight right away, and then induce, kind of bring forward this move d5 and knight e5. And there's a very sharp line here. White plays queen d4, black plays f6, defending the knight. White wins a pawn, intending to take here, and then black plays like queen b6 and e6 and so on. It's very sharp, very complicated. But Danny played a move I'd never seen before, which is queen d2. And already I was on my own. And, you know, a good sign of whether an opening is any good or not is how you react once the opening phase is over. So here I thought a little bit. I thought about f6. I really would like to play e6, but I can't. Bishop f5. And by the way, we have these noise-canceling headphones that you're going to see. Yeah, they didn't work at all. So, like, we could hear Robert Hess doing commentary in the room. So Robert Hess is talking, everybody's talking, but we can't get specific moves. We've got to think about our position here. And so I played bishop f5, and I thought bishop f5 was a very clever move, just defending the pawn, enabling knight to d3 check, which is now defended. And in the future, I will play queen b6 and rook c8. I was a little worried about this move c5, but I don't think it's a particularly good move. I hadn't gotten to punching yet, and I hadn't been punched in the head yet because it would have been illegal. I also thought for a second I blundered a piece. Like, I was very nervous throughout this whole experience because, again, it's a spectacle. A bunch of people are watching you, and you don't want to look like a fool, but this is complete. No, you just play queen a5, and white has to lose the right to castle, and will find themselves in a whole bunch of trouble if you, if they're not careful. So Danny went bishop e2, and I decided to play queen d7, which unpins the pawn, and, I just want to play e6 and develop my bishop, and I want to castle. Danny went f4, which I thought played directly into my hands, and here I saw a very nice simplification of the position. I played knight to d3 check. He probably should take my knight, because otherwise he loses the right to castle, and then he played knight f3. Very simple decision now for myself. I found a very nice idea here to kick out his pieces and quickly get mobilized. f6, only move is bishop h4, and now I am preventing knight e5, and this is one of these rare cases. My king might actually be better on f7 than castled, so I'm getting my bishop out to c5. I'm threatening him with queen e6, which is a fork of the pawn on c4, and already I realized right away, like, this is actually exactly why I wanted to get a Caro-Kann on the board, because I know this opening really well, and even at a point of complete and utter and total exhaustion, I was like, I'm confident that I can win in a Caro-Kann, 8 times out of 10, let's put it this way. Danny castled, so Danny gave away a pawn in the center of the board. He tried to attack my king by sacrificing a pawn, but like I said, my king is completely safe on f7, there is no knight e5 check, and now my plan is to go here, bring my rooks, and just be up a pawn, and you'll notice that pawn, which was the entire, like, it was born via the opening. Like, when I played knight here, that pawn was literally born in the center, and then it transferred like that. So that was a c pawn. I mean, just think about it. That was my c pawn. Look at my c pawn. d5, that's my c pawn going to d5. That's my c pawn going to e4, and now that pawn goes to d3. So this c pawn lived quite a life. It made it through the entire position, and I got the exact position that I wanted. I traded bishops, I brought my rook to the center, and my plan was, look, invest fully in this pawn. Like, I'm noticing Danny's going to create some counterplay with things like rook c7. I'm noticing that Danny is going, maybe queen c5 and stuff like this, but I thought if I just trade and bring all my pieces to the center, it's going to be impossible to deal with this pawn. It's 2 squares away from queening. So just naturally, I'm thinking, I've got to be able to win this game. So he plays queen to a5. And I played b6, simultaneously retargeting his pawn in the center because his queen can't protect it, guarding my pawn in the corner. I played rook e4, which was a stupid move. Rook e4 I played because I just wanted him to think. Like, I was sensing that Danny was slowing down here and not liking his position, but rather than playing the very simple queen d5, I decided to do this, which was kind of just dumb because, he played here, and he could have taken my pawn, and then I probably would have gone for his knight, but Danny went to trade rooks with me, and I found this nice defensive idea, bishop d7. So now I have about 45 seconds, he has 15, and I am threatening all sorts of nasty stuff. I very quickly push my pawn, play bishop g4, the queen is hanging, the knight is about to be opened up, rook e1 is on the way, and I mean, Danny had like 3 seconds, so he just took my rook, but he resigned, and I was very happy because this was an extremely smooth game. Like, I don't beat Danny very often in games like this. We always have very complicated back and forth games. I was very happy to win this game. And again, I'm like, I think I have an advantage going into the boxing because they're going to measure our heart rate, how technical we are. Well, now we start the official chess boxing portion. So it's 1 round of boxing. Remember, the first combination, 1, 2, then we slip, boom, and then you're gonna see that. You're gonna see a little bit of bloopers. Anyway, roll the tape. Here are some highlights of the round 1 of the boxing match.
Let's go and set that 1 minute timer.
2, slip, 2, 3.
We're starting in 3, 2, 1, and time in. Left side had 1 up. If it comes down to 1 differential, we subtract 1. We're already 10 seconds in. We're looking at that punch power, still very equal. 31 to 31, 33 to 34. Still going. Levy looking clean. Danny fighting like Floyd Mayweather with that lead hand down. Philly shell style. I don't know if that's intentional or, just happening. We're halfway through the round. Let's make some noise for these two. Heart rates are going up. Let's get a heart rate cam. What does that heart rate look like? 156 to 80. Who's who? Danny's high? Danny's higher. So Danny's up to 156. Levy is keeping it nice and low at 97. An impressive low heart rate while boxing. I hear the exhales from Levy every time he's punching. He's letting little exhales go as he tenses his stomach. Doing a really good job. And we are at time. Woo! Round of applause. Gloves come off. We're starting to control our breath. Go over to the board. Try to lower that heart rate. Engage the part of our brain that's really good at chess. Danny's sitting at 159. Levy's at 111.
That was intense. But my heart rate monitor was broken. So I think Danny got to about a heart rate of 140, 150. Mine said it was 80, 90. That's definitely wrong. I think, knowing myself, I got to about 110, 120. A 6-move combination is a lot to remember. Because you got to remember, in a real boxing, sparring, whatever, any of you that have experience know, you're not thinking like 1, 2, slip, bah, roll. Like, you know, this is actually kind of hard. And if they were doing strict judging, it's a very, very different thing. Now, they made us switch colors, which I was not prepared for. I thought we would have to play the exact same colors. I was ready to play a Caro Khan. They said switch colors, which I might file a form of protest because the previous match played the same colors twice. Anyway, we sit down. I'm feeling good. Like, I feel, you know, like I did a warm-up round. I'm not exhausted yet. I open up with pawn to d4, and I know that Danny plays knight f6, so I play bishop to g5. We've played a lot of openings against each other. Actually, we did a video on the lie detector back in Toronto. If you haven't seen that video, I think it's a good video. You should definitely check it out after this video. And Danny played c5, and so this time I thought, okay, rather than playing d5 and locking up the center, I'm going to play knight c3. Now, to my surprise, Danny played really fast. So he was snapping off moves in the opening. Pawn takes, queen takes. He went here, and then I rotated my queen. And one of the most fun lines to play here is when black plays e6. Because you castle queenside, black goes here, and then black tries to attack your bishop. You say you can't capture it, black castles, and then you play knight f3. And I've had this in some blitz games, and it's very funny because basically you just get this attack, and black can't do anything about it. Like, you're just going to win the game on the next move by playing e5 or rook d3, rook h3, queen h8. And I've had this in a handful of games. Unfortunately, Danny, you know, either knew or was bluffing really well. He played d6, which is the principled approach. You're trying to bring the bishop out here. You kind of know that I've developed all that, so I probably will castle. And then he's going to play bishop e6 and queen a5. So I didn't waste any time. I castled as well. We're both pretty fresh at this point. I don't think we're particularly tired. He goes here. I play king b1. He might have played queen a5 first. We transposed. And I went e4. Now, technically, e4 is a mistake. Like, very small technical detail. He could take this. Which I didn't even think. I mean, technically he can't. The idea is queen e4, queen g5. The other idea is that he can take on a2. It didn't even dawn on me that he could do that. Danny played a6 here with a very clear indication that he would like to play b5. And so I had a moment, right, where I was like, I needed to make a game plan. And I'm in a chess boxing match. Now, we're not going to hit each other, but I know that I'm going to get tired. And knowing that I'm going to get tired, what type of position do I want to go for with lower time on the clock? Oh, by the way, one thing that I have not mentioned, but I probably will mention because I will re-record and then put it in the intro, but we can still have this portion in because the magic of video editing. The person that loses each boxing round loses 15 seconds on the clock. So, just in case the position is really complicated, it's not a good thing to lose 15 seconds on the clock. And I thought, okay, look, I can get in a fight. I can keep a lot of pieces on the board. But let's be solid. Because if I get into a positional game, I think I have better chances, right? Chess is an ego game. If I think I'm the better player than my opponent, I want to minimize my risk. If I want to minimize my risk, I want to minimize the tactical position. Now here, Danny actually really surprised me because I thought Danny was going to play b5 and mix it up, but Danny went queen h5. I thought, oh, this is perfect. He's kind of falling completely into my trap. All right? He's going for a positional game. And I can't play queen g3. Normally I would play queen g3, but he can take, and then my knight can't guard both my rook and my pawn in the center. So I took on h5. He took, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna advance my pawns. I'm gonna, put my bishop out. I'm gonna play knight f3. Very easy game, even first round. Chess round is over. So that was the first chess round. Now it's time for the second boxing round, which, like I said, 1-2. And then it's the uppercuts, and then it's hook, which I actually like more. I like just straight up punching. I don't want to dodge. I would be a bad fighter, but I just enjoy that a bit more. Here is the second boxing round.
We're starting the boxing in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. As many punches as we can. We are at a 21 differential so far. We got a 1 minute timer. We're 10 seconds in. We'll just go down to 1 minute. Okay. Boom, lots of power coming from Danny again. All right, only about 15 seconds left. We're going for a burnout in 3, 2, 1. All punches, 1-2s, 1-2s, 1-2s. There we go, Danny. There we go, Levy. Levy, cool, calm, collected. Look at that heart rate, nice and low for Levy. Levy in excellent shape, 74 beats per minute. Danny spiking at 130. And time, all right. Awesome job. Let's get this back in.
That round was very tough, in particular because at the end, they made us do 10 to 15 seconds of pure burnout. Like I told you, if you've never boxed before, and those of you that know, that last 10, 15 seconds of the round, I mean, if you're actually getting in a fight, you gotta be sharp at the end. You can't gas out. Like my trainer has always told me, in the last 10 seconds of any exercise, you have to go the hardest because it conditions your brain. You can't just be like, oh, it's over in 10 seconds, I'm gonna quit. No, you gotta condition your brain to go hard at the end of the round. So I'm gassed. All right, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm tired. But I won both boxing rounds. So the first 2 boxing rounds, I won. I'm a better technical boxer. I'm not insulting Danny. I'm just saying I have more experience. So I think I was landing the combinations better. I mean, it still looked rough, but for all intents and purposes. So I won the boxing round. He got docked another 15 seconds. So I'm very confident. At this point, I'm tired, but I'm confident. And we sit down, and I already know my plan, right? It's just a matter of deciding which of these moves is going to go first. But we sit down, and I play f4. And my plan here is very simple. I want to advance these pawns without allowing counterplay. I'm going to threaten the knight to push the knight back, and then I'm going to play knight f3, knight g5. I'm going to play f5. I'm just going to get a great position. Tiredness level, again, when you're sitting back down and you're kind of breathing, you're getting less tired. But I definitely was a bit tired. So he went g6, and the idea for him was to develop his dark squared bishop. I played bishop e2, which is like half a threat and half just kind of like, I want to take the knight and damage your pawns, but I also maybe want to go g4 and shove you backwards. Danny really surprised me here. Danny played a move here where I thought I'm going to win this game in the next 10 or 15 moves. Like I thought the exhaustion was getting to him. I had a moment here. He went rook g8, which is a crazy move to play. The idea of rook g8 is understandable. The idea is if bishop takes, pawn takes, of course. So he's countering my idea. But that was never the real idea. I mean, the real idea was g4, f5, either now or knight f3, knight g5. So by playing rook g8, weakening this pawn, preventing any future castling, I thought I have a massive advantage right now. Like, I can sense it. I can sense my opponent is making slightly dubious decisions, whether it's the exhaustion, whether it's the chess. And this was my moment. This was the moment I needed to strike. The best plan here for white is g4, forcing the knight back to f6 or to g7, and then f5. But remember what I told you here? I told you I kind of made a note to myself to keep the position straightforward. Just in case I burn out, I don't want to play a tactical, crazy game. Like, I don't want to get into a huge fight. Because then if I come back to the board and I'm exhausted, I'm not going to be able to calculate. I'm going to burn a lot of clock time. And I remember very clearly sending this message to my brain, like, just play the lazy move. Just play knight f3. Just play knight f3, and then play knight g5, and then play g4, and then play f5. And Danny played rook c8. And mentally, for me, the fight changed right here. The match, the exhibition changed right here. I thought it was just, I'm going to melt him. Like, I thought, I'm going to go knight g5. He's going to go here. I can even take a pawn, by the way, but I thought, you know, it's going to be knight here. He's going to play h6. I'm going to take. I'm going to damage his pawns. Then I'm going to shove his knight backwards. Then I'm going to play bishop e3. Like, I just thought I'm going to walk over the black position positionally. I played knight g5, and Danny counterpunched with knight d4. This was a very well-timed move. Removing my control of the center by walking over here, Danny now attacks me. So he's threatening rook takes and here. Like, just, you know, he's threatening rook takes. Or he's threatening knight e2 and then bishop g4. Threatening a bunch of stuff. So knight d4, and I thought, okay, easy peasy. But suddenly, Danny's causing me some problems. And I couldn't get my wits about me. Like, seeing these two pieces suddenly come alive, I couldn't understand where I should put my rook. The boxing round is about to begin. I'm like, what do I do? I don't really see a difference. Like, rook e1, rook f1. Like, why would I put my rook on f1? I want my rook here on f1. I don't want to play. So I played rook e1. And right here, it all changed. He took, and played knight f3. And I was like, oh, no. And some mistakes in chess are mildly punishable. This one is completely punishable. Because now he forks me, he wins my bishop, and he wins my pawn. And I'm just down a pawn with damaged structure and isolated pawn in the center. I'm much worse. Much, much, much worse. I would dare even say completely lost. It all changed for me when I played a touch too lazy, like a little bit too solid. And he got, for me mentally, I'm telling you, my brain, when all this started happening, I of course should play rook f1 so that at least if knight h3 takes, there's no fork, but black is completely fine already. But it all changed. And so here is the fascinating dynamic about real chess boxing. If we were in a real fight, I know what I have to do. If I know I'm in this position and I'm going into a boxing round and it's the last boxing round, what do I have to do? I got to go forward and I got to attack. I got to empty the gas tank. I got to put my opponent away, or else my opponent's probably going to beat me in the end game because he's really good. He's an international master. But we're not doing that. We're not hitting each other. I'm not saying I would have won. I'm just saying that's the difference in dynamic. So now it's the third round and it is my worst round. I am terrible at 1 minute boxing round. Like at 1 minute, as hard as possible on the heavy bag. If any of you have done a minute straight in a heavy bag, you know that stuff is so tiring. Well, here's a little bit of boxing round number 3.
We're going in 3, 2, 1. Time in. Punch, 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 punch. All right, Levy starting with about a 40-point advantage in this final round. Punching as fast as we can. Very clean, straight out, straight back for Danny. Our fighters want to be making sure that they're breathing with every punch. They're holding their breath while they're exerting this much energy. It's a good way to pass out or punch yourself out if you've heard that term in boxing. We are 20 seconds in, 40 to go. This might look like a sprint, but to them, it feels like a marathon. And they have to sprint this marathon if they're going to win this time advantage for the next chess round. We're over halfway now. Fully extending those punches, breathing, moving those feet, moving those hands. Danny has kept about the same consistent range of motion this whole time. Danny has just passed. Levy scored. Crossing 500. That cardio kicking in. That CrossFit cardio, baby. Let's go. And 5 seconds. 4, count with me. 3, 2, 1. Time. Awesome work. Awesome work. Gloves come off. Danny passing Levy in that final round.
So it's going from bad to worse. I make a mistake on the chessboard. I'm down a minute. I lose the boxing round. So I lose boxing round 3 by such an extent that Danny overtakes me in the overall performance, but I think the equipment was broken. So now not only am I in a bad position down a minute, I lose 15 seconds to start this round. Yeah, rough stuff. I was so tired. 1 minute straight on mitts is really, really, really tough. Danny was crushing it. This was Danny's best round because he didn't have to memorize combinations. He could focus purely on his endurance, and his endurance is great. Like, Danny is in incredible shape. So he completely overtook me in the board and the boxing, and now I'm down a minute and like 20 seconds, and I gotta save this game. I tried my best. I played h4, not to lose the pawn, and I knew that the only way to draw this game would be to go to an opposite colored bishop endgame. Like, if I can get the opposite colored bishops and a little bit less pieces on the board, it's probably going to be holdable. So I played knight d5, I traded, but this is misery. This is a really, really tough position. Probably what I should do here is focus on my rooks. Just kind of keep my rooks on the second rank, make sure I don't have any back rank problems, prevent his rooks from getting into the game. But I was like, I got a minute, I gotta do something, so I played h5, which was probably wrong, but I was really worried that Danny himself would play h5, and this is very methodical, fixing your opponent's pawns on the same color square as your bishop. So I thought Danny was gonna play h5, after which, you know, the rook is coming here in the future, and it's just very, very bad. So I sacrificed my own pawn. I thought, well, I'm damaging his pawns, so the effect is not really felt. Let me safeguard my king. Let me activate my bishop. I have to make him think. I'm down a minute. I got to make moves that make Danny think. And to my credit, I did. I actually did. I got my bishop in here, sacrificed this pawn, and I thought, hey, we're making some progress, you know. And if, like, he didn't do that, you know, if Danny played, like, you know, b6, h3, if this was the position, well, yeah, but then I'm at least holding my pawn from a distance, and maybe I'm not totally lost. Danny took on h2, and now for me, the best thing here would have been to trade rooks, which I would have never in a million years done, take this pawn, and try to advance. So the way that white creates counterplay here is to create passed pawns on opposite sides. Of course, his is faster. But, you know, I have a pawn, and, you know, he would probably play bishop e5, and I play a4, but he's winning. Instead of that, I thought, Danny hung a pawn near his king, and now I'm threatening checkmate. Oh! But unfortunately, despite the boxing, yeah, Danny just disconnects my rooks here. And it's actually a lot worse than that, because now I am getting obliterated, which I totally missed. In my low time, and as punishment for my poor boxing, yeah, now he just plays rook g2, and it's actually just over. I can't guard my pawn, and I can't guard the other pawn, which means my king is going to get swarmed, and I'm totally lost. So I could do a bunch of stuff here that prolongs the game for, you know, 10 moves max, but I decided, you know what, Danny earned it. Let's play it out till checkmate. And the opposite colored bishops benefit the attacking side. Here is a perfect example of why. Bishop g5 and rook b1 checkmate. And Danny beat me. And, you know, in this game, I wouldn't say that the boxing exhausted me. I don't think I made these kind of series of slightly inaccurate decisions due to the boxing. Although, let's just say that it didn't help, of course. I mean, I don't think I would have made such a mistake with 80 heart rate. I think it was more like a game planning mistake. I think I mentally wanted to play a slow and calm game, and that way I wouldn't have to, you know, I wouldn't risk making a mistake in a complex battle. Like the first Caro-Kann game was pretty straightforward, but that was my mistake. I actually should have welcomed grabbing the bull by the horns and trying to play a little bit more aggressively, and I didn't. I chose the wrong game plan in the middle game. Danny very quickly and correctly punished me for my inaccuracies, and there's some mistakes in chess you do not bounce back from, and this is one of them. And in a normal fight, I would have tried to put hands on my opponent, but I'm scared of Danny. He's in very, very good shape, and also if we were putting hands on each other, he could have knocked me out in the first round. But the dynamic here was kind of sealed already. I tried my best, but unfortunately, I lost. So I am officially 0-1 in Chessboxing Fit, which apparently is the style of this type of format. I won the baseline game. I lost the Chessboxing game. But I don't think it was because of pure exhaustion. I just think I made a mistake. But we'll never know. Maybe I'll do another one of these in the future. Maybe this is the way Andrea Botez and I will finally fight, because we know how a real fight would go. I'd probably have to go to the hospital with her, because she would be so beaten up. Anyway, this was my first ever chess boxing exhibition match, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Now get out of here.